This is our boy Ceres, the protagonist, and these are the girls around him. But then this other guy, Zact, comes in and steals all of them away from him. Normally, this is the point where the MC gets depressed, starts training alone, and plans revenge later, but our boy here refuses to accept defeat. Instead of fighting over the girls, he goes after Zact's mother instead. And yes, this is an actual manga, not though the manga definitely has those scenes here and there. The story starts with Ceres enjoying a dream where he's standing in front of 4 beautiful women and all of them are confessing to him at the same time. Since our boy is openly a lover, his immediate reaction is wanting to marry all 4 of them together. Honestly, this is 1000% relatable behavior. Then he suddenly wakes up and we find out this happened around 10 years earlier. At that time, Ceres was part of a hero party called Light of Hope. The party had 5 members and their goal was defeating the Demon King. Ceres mainly worked as a mage fighter and for a while the team was actually doing pretty well. But today the party suddenly decides to kick him out. The thing is, Ceres already expected this would happen. The hero of the party, Zact, looked perfect from the outside. He was strong, talented, skilled, handsome, and extremely popular. But underneath all that, the guy was honestly a complete piece of shit. Zact was a massive womanizer and constantly chased girls around. Meanwhile, Ceres genuinely valued friendship and trusted the people around him. And not only Zact, but even the girls in the party go against Ceres too. What hurts him the most is Mel choosing Zact over him, even though he had always been close to her. Zact thought he and Mel were dating, so he purposely went after her. But deep down, the thing bothering him the most is the fact that he treated Zact like a real friend only for him to betray him like this. Even after all that, Ceres quietly leaves the party without causing drama, and that's where we learn something important about him. Ceres originally came from another world. In his previous life, he was actually a 42-year-old man with a wife and daughter, but after reincarnating into this fantasy world, he ended up in a society with completely insane logic. In this world, most people barely live beyond 50. Women who become 17 are already considered old, and once they pass 20, society practically stops treating them like women at all. In short, the logic in this manga is insane. At this point, Ceres himself is only 14 years old in this world. Since he lost the hero party, he now has to rebuild everything from scratch. So he heads toward a slave market to buy someone who can help with cooking and housework. But the moment he enters the shop, he notices a woman named Shizuko. And this woman turns out to be someone extremely important to him. Not only was Shizuko his first love, but she was also Zact's mother. Without wasting time, Ceres immediately buys her for only 5 silver coins. The price sounds ridiculous, but because this world treats women over 20 like expired products, someone around Shizuko's age gets sold extremely cheaply. Honestly, the system in this manga is insane. After buying her, he gets her proper clothes and food. Shizuko sincerely thanks him for rescuing her from that place, and Ceres asks her how she even became a slave in the first place. That's when things get worse. Her own husband sold her. After Zact became famous as a hero, the family received a huge amount of money from the kingdom. But instead of using it properly, Zact's father became obsessed with gambling and women. Eventually, he lost everything, built up debt, and when he ran out of things to sell, he sold his own wife.
Ceres naturally asks why she didn't contact Zact for help, but Shizuko reveals that her son became exactly like his father. He completely stopped caring about. According to her, money changed both of them. The story even shows a flashback where Ceres directly tells Zact's father that he'll take Shizuko for himself. Meanwhile, the husband casually responds like he's discussing random merchandise instead of his own wife. Even after all this, Shizuko doesn't scream or lose control. She simply says she hopes her husband eventually ends up suffering for what he did. But despite everything, she's still surprised someone like Ceres would buy an old woman like her. Of course, Ceres immediately disagrees with that. Then we find out why Shizuko matters so much to him. After Ceres lost his parents as a child, she was the one who practically raised him. She filled the role of a mother figure in his life for years. So while Shizuko sees herself as old and unwanted, Ceres has genuinely loved her since childhood. Now that she officially belongs to him as a slave, Shizuko nervously asks what he wants from her. She offers to cook, clean, and do anything he asks, but instead of asking for housework, Ceres simply tells her he wants her to become his lover. At first, she thinks he's joking, but Ceres reminds her that he's been saying the exact same thing since he was a kid. This man stayed loyal to the mission for years. years. Shizuko tries convincing him to find girls his own age instead, but Ceres immediately reveals that Zact already slept with most of them. After hearing him out properly, Shizuko finally agrees to stay with him, and the two head home together while holding hands. And honestly, this man definitely plans on holding way more than just hands later. The next morning, they wake up together and go eat breakfast. Shizuko enjoys the food so much that she offers to start cooking herself instead of eating outside all the time. Afterward, they head toward the Adventurer Guild so Ceres can register a new party with her. The receptionist immediately reacts with disbelief after hearing Ceres wants to partner with an older woman. But everything changes when Shizuko asks for her adventurer rank to be restored. Suddenly, everyone becomes respectful, and even the guild owner recognizes her immediately as the famous black-haired healer. That's when Ceres discovers Shizuko used to be an S-rank adventurer. Because she's restarting after years away from adventuring, the guild can't instantly restore her full rank, but they still place her at A rank immediately. At this point, Ceres realized he somehow bought an S-rank adventurer for 5 silver coins. Honestly, this might be the greatest bargain in manga history. The two accept a mission to hunt dragons, and while traveling together, Ceres asks who she used to adventure with. Shizuko explains that she once fought alongside Haruka, Sayo, and Misaki, mothers of Lita, Mel, and Maria. So now the story casually reveals that all 4 mothers were legendary adventurers together in the past. And honestly, the manga really knew what it was doing with these character designs. Ceres then asks an important question. If Shizuko was so strong, how did her husband even manage to sell her? And apparently, the bastard drugged her beforehand so she couldn't resist. At that moment, Shizuko quietly decides she'll definitely get revenge on him someday. Before fighting the dragons, the two sit down and have a proper meal together. Then the hunt finally starts. Ceres immediately attacks using wind magic and slices through one dragon's throat. But before he can relax, another dragon attacks him from behind. Luckily, Shizuko instantly saves him using Holy Mat, proving exactly why she used to be S rank.
Then a rock dragon appears, and together the two finish it off before collecting the reward money. They subtly become a lot richer, but the important moment happens afterward when Ceres asks why she rushed to save him so quickly. Shizuko simply tells him she can't bear seeing him get hurt. In response, Ceres says he's not a child anymore, and now it's his turn to protect her instead. Later on, Shizuko starts overthinking everything. She wonders whether Ceres truly loves her, or if he's only attached because he feels lonely after being betrayed. But then, Ceres suddenly returns home earlier than expected just because he wanted to see her sooner. That simple action affects her deeply. Ceres constantly compliments her naturally, while Shizuko still struggles with seeing herself as an old woman. But in his eyes, she's genuinely the most beautiful woman in the world. And instead of only talking, he proves it properly too. He buys her flowers, cake, takes her out for dinner, and even gives her a necklace. That necklace means a lot, because in this world, giving one carries serious romantic meaning. Shizuko even admits her former husband never once gave her something that precious, not even a wedding ring. Even then, she still believes she isn't worthy of someone like Ceres. But Ceres keeps insisting that she's the only woman he wants. Eventually, Shizuko finally accepts his feelings completely. Later that night, while taking a bath, she reflects on everything that happened between them. She remembers how even when Ceres was a little kid, he'd always seriously said he loved her. Only now does she fully realize he genuinely meant it the entire time. And this is also the night where our boy finally stops holding back completely. Shizuko shyly asks him to be gentle because it's an emotional moment for her, but Ceres clearly has no intention of stopping now. This man already spent money on flowers, cake, dinner, clothes, and a necklace. Bro is not walking away empty-handed after all that investment. Things quickly become intense between them. First, he slowly tastes her body, kisses her everywhere, and then finally, Ceres ends up all night. This is literally his revenge. Zact kicked Ceres out of the hero party, and Ceres responded by taking his mother to bed instead. And the craziest part is that this man somehow still has endless stamina left over. Shizuko ends up completely exhausted, while Ceres still wants more even the next morning. After breakfast, Shizuko decides she wants to return to her old village because she still has unfinished business with her ex-husband. Ceres honestly wasn't that interested at first, but the moment he hears Haruka, Sayo, and Misaki are there too, his motivation instantly shoots up. We then get a quick look at the other mothers. Haruka helps run a restaurant with her husband, Sayo lives as a normal housewife, and Misaki works together with her husband running a store.
Meanwhile, back with Zact and the former hero party, things were already turning into a complete disaster. Since Ceres used to handle basically everything behind the scenes, the group suddenly realized they couldn't even manage simple paperwork properly without him. Zact ends up throwing the responsibility onto one of the girls, but even basic tasks start going going wrong. On top of that, the food situation becomes terrible too. Everyone starts remembering how Ceres used to cook for them all the time, and now that he's gone, they're stuck eating absolute garbage instead. The funniest part is that Ceres somehow keeps returning in every single conversation no matter what they talk about. Zact gets more irritated every time his name comes up because now he's finally understanding how valuable Ceres actually was to the team. A few days later, the group looks completely exhausted. Their condition has fallen apart so badly that even basic self-care is missing now. Zact asks why Maria and Null haven't even maintained their hair properly anymore, and that's when we find out Ceres used to take care of that too. The manga literally shows him helping with their hair while these same people were betraying him behind his back. The more the story reveals, the more it becomes obvious that this guy was carrying the entire party alone. Since they're broke now, the group has no choice but to start hunting monsters properly to survive. And at this point, even Zact himself finally understands that the hero party depended on Ceres way more than anyone realized. Back on the other side though, Ceres and Shizuko are living completely differently. Through Shizuko's perspective, we see how happy she's become after meeting him. Ceres takes care of her constantly, even helping with things like her hair and daily needs. According to her, this guy is basically perfect husband material. The two of them are honestly just enjoying life now. Peaceful mornings together, affectionate nights together, and both of them looking genuinely happy for a very long time. Shizuko especially feels grateful that Ceres became part of her life.
Eventually, they head out for another mission together. Ceres completely dominates the monsters during the fight, and while talking afterward, he reveals something surprising. Even when he was part of the hero party, he barely received proper money from them. Most of what he earned came from doing hunts and missions himself. Hearing that makes Shizuko feel even worse about how badly he was treated before. After completing several quests, the two head over to collect their rewards, where they discover something interesting. Because Ceres has accomplished so many impressive hunts recently, he's now officially recognized separately from the original Light of Hope hero party. His new group can still use the same party name system, but now Ceres himself has earned the title of Dragon Killer. While they're discussing things, Shizuko casually says something negative about her son Zact, which shocks the receptionist nearby, because everyone still sees him publicly as a great hero. But then Ceres calmly explains the entire situation, including the fact that Shizuko is Zact's mother and also his lover now. The poor receptionist gets completely confused trying to process all that information at once. After hearing the full story though, she actually becomes angry at Zact for how he treated his own mother. Before the couple leaves, she asks if they'd like to officially register as married. In this world, there's apparently a system similar to a marriage guild where couples can legally register themselves as husband and wife. Without hesitation, both Ceres and Shizuko agree, and just like that, these two officially get married right there on the spot. Everyone nearby congratulates them, while the guild owner jokingly calls Ceres a total lady killer. Honestly, the whole situation is still insane because this world spent half the story saying women over 20 aren't even valued anymore, yet now everyone is happily celebrating a 14-year-old marrying a 30-year-old. But regardless, the marriage becomes official, and before heading toward the village, Ceres quietly thinks to himself about the promise he made back in childhood, the same promise about making all of those women his someday, and now he's fully determined to accomplish it. Once they arrive at the village, the first person they meet is the village chief. The moment he sees Shizuko alive, he's completely shocked. Apparently, after selling her away, her ex-husband returned and lied to everyone by saying she had died. So when the truth comes out, the chief immediately gets furious and says that if Zact and his father were standing there right now, he would have personally killed them himself. But luckily for everyone, the ex-husband isn't even around anymore. Since he failed to pay taxes and debts, authorities already dragged him away somewhere. No matter what fantasy world it is, taxes apparently still win in the end. Hearing that honestly makes Shizuko feel relieved. Her ex-husband is gone, Zact lives in the city now, and for the first time in years, she can return peacefully to her old home together with Ceres. Naturally, once the couple gets inside the house, the sweet atmosphere immediately returns. But our boy Ceres clearly has only one thing on his mind half the time. This man somehow manages to turn every peaceful moment into another marathon session, to the point where their mornings don't even begin properly anymore. Soon after, the two decide it's finally time to meet Shizuko's old friends again. The first person they visit is Haruka, or Haru for short, who happens to be Lita's mother. She runs a restaurant in the village together with her husband, Kajma. What makes this reunion important is because Hajima was one of the people who helped raise Ceres after his parents died. He acted like both an older brother and father figure to him, while Haru always treated him like family too. Because of that, Ceres has always called her Big Sister. The reunion itself goes smooth. Haru is genuinely happy seeing both of them again after so long, and everyone spends time eating together peacefully. But while they're alone afterward, Shizuko suddenly asks Ceres directly whether he likes Haru-san. Ceres admits that he does, but says he only sees her as an older sister now because she already has a happy marriage with Kajuma. He doesn't want to interfere with that relationship. Hearing this actually makes Shizuko smile because she thinks Haru and Ceres would honestly look good together. Ceres casually comments that Haru is still very beautiful and youthful, which immediately makes Shizuko jealous. Bro really looked at his wife and started complimenting another woman in the same conversation. Dangerous strategy. Still, Ceres explains properly that he genuinely respects Haru and only wants to remain her younger brother. But then Shizuko suddenly brings up something called a night visit tradition. And yes, this world somehow has official rules for legally sneaking into another woman's room at night. According to Shizuko, the tradition works like this. The woman must be over 24 and widowed. The man has to quietly sit on the right side while she sleeps. He's not allowed to speak first. The woman has to start the conversation, and if she accepts him, he has to be gentle, but if she rejects him, he must leave immediately. Congratulations! The manga has now created a fully legal cheating system. At first, Ceres refuses because even he realizes how weird this sounds, but Shizuko keeps encouraging him, so eventually he actually goes to Haru's room at night and quietly sits beside her while she sleeps. Now honestly, there are two major problems here. First, imagine peacefully sleeping and then waking up to find someone silently staring at you from beside the bed. Second, why is Haru even sleeping separately from her husband in the first place? Anyway, Haru wakes up, sees Ceres beside her, and immediately understands what's happened. Instead of getting romantic though, she starts beating the life out of him. Ceres can't even explain himself properly because every time he tries speaking, another slap arrives instantly. Right when things are becoming complete chaos, Kajuma walks into the room too. At this point, Ceres genuinely believes he's about to die, so he quickly explains everything, including the fact that he likes Haru but gave up because she already had Kajuma. Hearing that actually makes Haru feel emotional for a moment, but Kajuma's reaction is somehow even crazier. Instead of getting angry, he tells Haru to stay quiet because this is men's talk. Then he asks Ceres a serious question. If he truly loves Haru, then why is he giving up on her? According to Kajuma, if someone truly loves a woman, then they shouldn't abandon those feelings so easily. Ceres keeps insisting Haru is already happy with him, but Kajuma literally responds by saying Ceres can be happy with his wife too. What kind of conversation is this becoming? Then Kajuma asks the real question. Would Ceres still love Haru even after she grows older? And without hesitation, Ceres says yes. Bro is committed to the mission, no matter the expiration date. Finally, Kajuma asks Haru direct what she thinks. Haru is completely overwhelmed because she literally helped raise Ceres when he was a kid. She changed his diapers, and now this same boy is confessing his love to her? But somehow, the wildest moment still hadn't happened yet. Kajuma suddenly tells Ceres to prove how much he loves Haru by sleeping with her right there in front of him. What? Ceres, meanwhile, responds with full enthusiasm like he just got permission to unlock a secret achievement. And just like that, Kajuma somehow transforms from husband into live audience member. The whole situation feels unbelievably strange. Ceres is literally in another man's house with his wife while the husband himself approved everything personally. This is somehow the most peaceful version of ever created. After everything finally settles down, Haru admits that she loves Ceres too. And yes, just like that, Kajuma's wife officially becomes part of Ceres' growing collection. Before leaving though, we finally understand Kajuma's reasoning properly. After having children, Haru and Kajuma's relationship slowly changed over the years. They still cared deeply about each other, but the romantic connection between them weakened. Since he trusts Ceres completely and knows what kind of person he is, he genuinely believes Haru can find happiness this way too.
This man basically watched Ceres grow up and apparently noticed from childhood exactly where the boy's interests always were. Soon after, Ceres properly proposes to Haru as well, and she accepts his feelings. Meanwhile, Zact and the hero party continue falling apart completely. Since they can't function without Ceres anymore, they start discussing ways to bring him back. But then Zact realizes there's no easy way to fix things because they literally kicked him out themselves. First, he thinks about returning the girls he stole from Ceres, but even he realizes that won't solve anything anymore. The guy wants to keep everything for himself while losing nothing, and because of that mentality, he's slowly ending up with nothing at all. Later on, Shizuko spends time with her childhood friends
Sayo, and Misaki. And naturally, the conversation turns towards Ceres. They talk about how even as a child, he used to openly say he loved all of them, and now he's actually turning those words into reality. Then the discussion suddenly changes direction completely when Sayo asks the most important question possible. How good is Ceres in bed? Shizuko immediately answers by calling him an absolute animal who doesn't stop until morning. That single sentence instantly makes both women jealous and impressed at the same time. At first, they think she's exaggerating, mainly because their own husbands barely touch them anymore. But then Shizuko casually shows them the marks Ceres left on her body as proof that this man genuinely cannot keep his hands off her. At this point, Sayo finally gets straight to the main topic and asks Shizuko what exactly she wants from them. And that's when Shizuko reveals her actual plan. She wants Sayo, Haru, and Misaki to leave their husbands and join Ceres instead. Surprisingly, neither of them immediately rejects the idea. In fact, both women seriously consider it because for the first time in years, they feel like they could actually receive real love again. On top of that, Shizuko also wants all of them to become adventurers together again. We then find out these women weren't just random former adventurers. Sayo used to be known as the Ice Princess, while Misaki carried the title of Berserk Black Knight. These women had genuinely terrifying reputations back in their prime. Shizuko then explains the real reason behind all this. She's furious at her son Zact because he and the girls in the hero party treated Ceres like a servant and then threw him away after using him for years. Sayo and Misaki also become angry after hearing the full story because their own daughters were part of the people who betrayed Ceres too. At this point, the mothers have fully switched sides. Now they want to join Ceres and leave the village together and start adventuring again. Whether those adventures happen on the battlefield or somewhere else entirely, these women are clearly ready for all. After settling everything, Shizuko tells the others to come with her because she wants to show them something important. She takes Sayo and Misaki back home, fully aware that Ceres is probably busy with Haru already. And exactly that happens. The moment they arrive, both women immediately understand two things. First, Ceres definitely knows how to keep women happy, and second, Shizuko clearly wasn't exaggerating anything she said earlier. We also find out Haru's old adventurer nickname was Slime Reaper, which honestly sounds way too dangerous for someone who runs a peaceful restaurant now. Afterward, Shizuko casually tells Ceres she's basically making his job easier by bringing him to more women. According to her, once all 4 women are officially his, they'll finally be able to take revenge on Zact and the others properly. But Ceres immediately clarifies something important. He says he isn't trying to make these women his just for revenge. He genuinely loves them. Revenge isn't what motivates him. Meanwhile, the women absolutely do want revenge. Their own daughters bullied and abandoned Ceres despite everything they did for them. And now the mothers have decided it's their turn to make things difficult for those girls instead. With everything mostly settled, there's only one thing left to do now. They need permission from Sayo and Misaki's husbands. First, Ceres visits Sayo's husband, Kaito. Back in childhood, Kaito taught Ceres farming and other useful skills around the village. He was genuinely kind to him growing up, so he always respected him a lot.
But the moment the conversation reaches the main point, Kaito casually says, "You want my wife? Sure, take her." That sentence comes out way too casually for something so insane. The reason behind it turns out to be pretty sad though. After Kaito and Sayo got married, Kaito's father constantly mistreated Sayo and insulted her. And after his father died, Kaito slowly became exactly like him. He started treating Sayo badly too, always criticizing and hurting her emotionally. Because of that, he eventually stopped valuing the relationship completely and just hands Sayo over to Ceres. Before leaving though, Ceres asks what Kaito plans to do now, and this guy seriously responds that he'll just buy a younger slave woman instead. Hearing that obviously hurts Sayo deep. Luckily, once they return home, Ceres immediately comforts her properly. Soon after, Sayo asks him if he wants to go for a ride together, and before anyone misunderstands, this time it's actually a real ride. Since Sayo is a mage, she can literally fly using a broom like Fantasy World Harry Potter. She takes Ceres high into the sky alone because there's something bothering her. She points out that while he proposed properly to the others, he never officially proposed to her yet. During the flight, Ceres accidentally touches her, which causes Sayo to lose focus completely, and the two end up crashing down together. Honestly, this might be the only crash landing in history where both people involved are perfectly happy afterward. But Sayo clearly came prepared because she immediately creates a magical barrier around them so nobody can interrupt. This woman had plans from the start. Several dangerous beasts appear.
but Sayo casually wipes them out using powerful ice magic. Later, an even larger wolf monster attacks, and Sayo uses a spell called Absolute Zero that instantly freezes the creature's blood at -200 degrees Celsius. Instant death. At that moment, Ceres realizes one very important thing. His favorite women are all terrifyingly strong. And honestly, the same question enters both his mind and ours. If these women are powerful enough to destroy monsters effortlessly, then why do they spend their lives quietly tolerating bad husbands instead of just dominating everyone around them? The story doesn't fully answer it yet, but eventually Ceres officially proposes to Sayo too, and she happily accepts. Now only Misaki remains. The next day, Ceres goes to meet his husband, Shuto. Just like the others, Shuto also played a major role in Ceres' childhood because he was the one who taught him reading and writing. And just like the others, this guy also gives his wife away immediately. His reason is somehow even simpler than the rest. He's just exhausted from dealing with the Misaki all the time, and straight up says Ceres can take this old woman away if he wants. Misaki herself noticed something else after leaving. During all these years living a quiet married life, she lost much of the muscle and strength she had during her adventurer days. Back then, she was always a frontline fighter. Unlike the other women though, Misaki doesn't immediately jump into romantic moments with Ceres. Instead, she focuses on rebuilding her strength first. All four women start training together seriously again while Ceres watches them. And somewhere during that training period, Ceres finally proposes to Misaki too, and she happily accepts. Now, all four women officially belong with him. Soon afterward, the women return only to discover their former husbands already hanging out with younger slave girls. Naturally, they all become furious. But this entire thing was actually part of Ceres' plan. The slaves he arranged for those men are specifically the type who will slow. When the daughters eventually return home, they'll discover their fathers obsessing over girls around their own age. That's gonna hit them emotionally hard. And by the time they try turning toward their mothers for comfort, those mothers will already belong to Ceres. This man really entered full mastermind mode. Now though, Ceres has another problem. He suddenly has 4 wives, meaning this guy actually means a proper schedule system now.
Meanwhile, Ceres also realizes something important. The hero party somehow managed to defeat the Demon King successfully, that they might never need to return to the village at all. But honestly, considering their current condition, that outcome seems impossible. So eventually, Ceres takes all 4 wives and leaves the village together. Back with Zact's hero party, the downfall has become much worse now. Ever since Ceres left, the entire team has been falling apart completely. Previously, he handled cooking, cleaning, paperwork, and even battle coordination. Now, none of them can properly manage anything alone. Even monsters they used to defeat easily are suddenly overwhelming them because their teamwork has collapsed entirely. The Ogre King, which once felt like an easy enemy for them, now gives the party serious trouble. At this point, the group reaches the same conclusion again. The only way to survive is to somehow bring Ceres back. Zact decides he'll offer one of the girls to Ceres if necessary, because he still thinks Ceres only likes younger girls. Bro has absolutely no idea what type of game he's actually competing in. Then, Zact casually considers offering all 3 girls back if that's what it takes. But this isn't because he truly cares about the team. He's only pretending to be selfless. In reality, his plan is simple. Once Ceres returns, they will rebuild their reputation, defeat the Demon King, and regain their status. After that, Zact plans to marry some princess anyway and dump the 3 girls onto Ceres permanently. This guy is truly terrible. We then get the perspectives of the 3 girls themselves. First is Lita, who admits she always hated Ceres a little because her parents constantly praised him in front of her. Even though she often treated him badly, Ceres never hated her back and always stayed kind. Looking back now, she realizes she probably would have been much happier staying with him. Then there's Mel, who completely abandoned Ceres for Zact. She's now realizing she made a huge mistake by ignoring someone who genuinely cared for her. And soon she's going to discover that Ceres didn't just steal revenge from Zact, he literally stole her mother instead. Finally, Maria admits that Ceres was actually her first love all along. But because Zact was the famous hero of the party, she forced herself to chase after him instead. Now even she starts wondering whether life with Ceres would make her happier. After discussing everything, the group officially decides they need Ceres back. So they go to inform the church that they're bringing him into the party again. But surprisingly,
the church rejects the idea immediately. According to them, heroes are supposed to move forward. Someone who already left shouldn't be brought back. Meanwhile, Ceres is living an entirely different life in the city. Together with his 4 wives, he buys new furniture and combines several large beds together into one massive sleeping area. This man has officially built a 5-person love nest. A few days later, the 4 women relax together at a spa while discussing how hard Ceres has been working lately. Apparently, he's been hunting dragons non-stop without even taking them along. The reason is simple. He wants to earn enough money to properly support all 4 wives and buy them the best equipment possible. And when he asks how many dragons he's actually killed recently, Ceres really reveals he's basically wiped out almost every dragon near the capital by himself. Fire dragons, ice dragons, storm dragons, giant dragon kings. This man has been farming dragons like daily quests. Honestly, with 4 wives waiting at home, the motivation levels suddenly make sense. Sayo then asks why he's earning such insane amounts of money, and Ceres reveals he's preparing custom hunting equipment for all 4 of them. And when he finally gives them the gear, all 4 women look incredible wearing it.
And yeah, I have to say this. Come on, guys. I have to smash.
Soon after, Ceres finally takes them hunting together for the first time. Before facing stronger monsters though, he decides to warm them up against some ogres first, and that's where things become terrifying. Shizuko may technically be a healer, but instead of staying safely behind everyone, she charges straight into the front lines. She can even reverse healing spells into attacks. Meanwhile, Sayo casually uses Absolute Zero again to freeze enemies instantly, while Haraka and Masaki brutally overpower ogres with pure physical strength.
The monsters honestly don't even stand a chance. Within moments, the 4 women wipe out every ogre effortlessly and casually comment that this didn't even count as proper exercise for them. Watching everything happen, Ceres finally admits these women are actually stronger than Zact, but the women themselves explain that things aren't so simple. While they're incredibly powerful against normal enemies, they struggle against gigantic monsters and dragons because their abilities aren't perfectly suited for those kinds of battles. Still, Ceres can't stop wondering why women this strong abandoned adventuring in the first place. And finally, all 4 of them reveal the truth. At one point, they became so powerful that ordinary people stopped admiring them and started fearing them instead. Eventually, they got tired of constantly being treated like dangerous monsters instead of heroes, so all they wanted after that was a normal life. Misaki then explains another reason why their old adventurer group eventually fell apart. Since their entire team consisted only of women, they constantly dealt with uncomfortable situations everywhere they went. Some problems were personal, some were emotional, and some were simply because men everywhere kept staring at them non-stop. Even powerful adventurers apparently can escape awkwardness. Anyway, after finishing the hunt, Ceres suggests they head home before an ogre king appears, but Sayo casually responds by asking if he means the same ogre king Shizuko once killed instantly with a single attack. At that moment, Ceres finally accepts reality. These 4 women are absolutely stronger than, and honestly, Misaki randomly showing off abs in the middle of all this is fucking. Right after that, the story shifts toward the dragons. Somewhere far away, a dragon reports to his ruler that dragons everywhere have recently started dying in huge numbers. The Dragon Lord initially assumes an army or maybe the hero party is responsible, but then he hears the truth. It's all being done by one single human. The moment he hears that, the Dragon Lord immediately realizes something abnormal is happening because no ordinary person could slaughter dragons at that level alone. So he summons one of the strongest beings under him, the Black Dragon. This guy is apparently one of the 5 great Dragon Lords, monsters so powerful they stand above almost everything else. The Dragon Lord orders him to investigate Ceres and kill him if necessary. But instead of feeling excited, the Black Dragon actually sounds insulted. He complains that 1200 years ago he destroyed an entire hero party alone, and now he's being sent after some random mortal. Still, since the order comes from his master, he leaves to investigate Ceres anyway. Meanwhile, Ceres has already started sensing something terrifying watching him from a distance. Unlike normal danger, this presence feels overwhelmingly murderous. What's strange is that none of his wives can sense it at all. And honestly, he's glad about that, because the last thing he wants is for his wives to get dragged into whatever this is. So one day, he quietly tells everyone he's going shopping, but instead he heads toward an empty field and directly calls out whoever has been following him. And just like that, the Black Dragon appears. The first thing he asks is how Ceres even noticed him. Ceres explains that the
killing intent was so strong it became impossible to ignore. Then he nervously asked whether this guy works for the Demon King or Heavenly King or something. The Black Dragon immediately gets offended. Apparently, comparing him to demons is disrespectful because he's the Black Dragon, one of the 5 great dragon lords. This man flexes his status so hard that Ceres literally starts shivering. At that point, Ceres instantly realizes fighting this guy head-on would basically be suicide. So instead of acting brave, he chooses the smartest strategy possible. He immediately kneels respectfully. Ceres introduces himself politely, addresses him as Lord Black Dragon, and asks how he can help. Surprisingly, that actually calms the Black Dragon a little. Then the dragon gets straight to the point. He challenges Ceres to a one-on-one fight.
Of course, Ceres immediately refuses because he knows perfectly well he's outmatched. This isn't one of those power of friendship situations. This dude could genuinely erase him from existence. But the Black Dragon ignores his refusal completely and sets the rules himself. They'll fight on top of a distant mountain, and because he's overwhelmingly stronger, he'll even handicap himself. If Ceres manages to escape the forest alive, he wins. Also, the Black Dragon promises not to fully transform into his dragon form during the battle. Then, he immediately transforms into a dragon anyway, just to carry Ceres there. Bro really said, "I won't transform during the fight," while already transforming before the fight even started. Now, meanwhile, back with the wives, all 4 women start realizing something suspicious is going on. They can tell Ceres has been hiding something from them recently, so they quickly equip their gear and follow him toward the forest. But before they can interfere, another dragon blocks their path. This dragon explains that since the Black Dragon is currently fighting Ceres, outside interference isn't allowed. Apparently, dragon battles have strict rules too. Naturally, the wives still insist on going forward, so the dragon decides to reveal his true form and basically says, "Fine then, come fight." Back at the actual battle, Ceres spends most of the time desperately dodging attacks while throwing weak magic around like survival mode has activated completely. The Black Dragon even flies around casually using his wings, causing Ceres to immediately call him out for cheating. So the dragon lands and returns to human form again. At one point, Ceres finally gets a chance to escape and immediately starts running for his life through the forest, but the Black Dragon catches up instantly. Then comes the funniest survival move in the entire manga. Ceres suddenly throws chili powder directly into the Black Dragon's eyes. The dragon expected some powerful attack or poison, but instead, this man hit him with kitchen-level warfare. Ceres even explained that poison would have been useless because dragons can neutralize it, but pain from chili powder still works perfectly. Honestly, low IQ strategy, but maximum effectiveness. Using that opportunity, Ceres barely reaches the edge of the forest, but right before escaping completely, the Black Dragon slashes him. However, Ceres immediately points out 2 things. First, the dragon used claws during the attack, which technically violated the agreed rules. And second, the slash happened after Ceres had already crossed outside the forest boundary, meaning, according to the rules, Ceres won. There's just one tiny problem. He also died. Our main character literally won the fight and died at the same time. Even so, the Black Dragon honestly acknowledges his victory. He admits Ceres defeated him fairly under the agreed conditions. As proof of respect, the dragon gives Ceres his own liver and some of his blood before leaving. Whether Ceres survives after that is apparently up to fate. At the same time, the 4 wives unleashed a combined attack against the dragon blocking them, but absolutely nothing happens. Not even a scratch appears on it. Realizing the fight elsewhere has already ended, the dragon leaves. Soon after, the wives finally reach Ceres, and somehow, he's alive again. His clothes are covered in blood, but his body has no wounds anymore. Even the giant slash on his back has completely vanished. During the moment between death and revival, Ceres had a strange dream where he met his parents again. His father was especially proud after hearing his son somehow ended up with 4 wives. After reviving, Ceres immediately changes clothes and heads toward the hot springs, where he notices something strange. His body feels incredibly hot and powerful now, almost unnatural. And his Excalibur, you could tell by other people's reaction. The Black Dragon's liver and blood basically turned him partially into a dragon himself. When Ceres returns home and explains everything, his wives become extremely interested in this new transformation. And naturally, instead of calmly studying the situation, things immediately become chaotic again. Even after exhausting all 4 wives completely, Ceres somehow has energy left over. So afterward, he casually goes outside and eats enough meat to nearly bankrupt an entire restaurant. This man empties the whole shop by himself.
Then he starts training and realizes his stamina has become ridiculous.
No matter how hard he pushes himself, he doesn't seem to tire anymore. Right in the middle of this, a rock dragon suddenly appears nearby. Ceres instantly prepares for battle, but instead of attacking, the dragon respectfully greets him. The dragon literally calls him Great One and Protector. Ceres gets completely confused because he still sees himself as human, but from the dragon's perspective, the black dragon's presence is now inside him due to the transplanted blood and liver. Soon other dragons arrive too, and one of them even starts affectionately licking him. At this point, Ceres honestly thinks the black dragon cursed him somehow. Maybe he can no longer fight dragons properly, or maybe he gained the ability to communicate with him instead. Whatever happened, at least he understands one thing clearly now. He became much stronger. And for Ceres, strength only matters because it means he can better protect his wives. Meanwhile, the hero party receives a major emergency mission. The church informs Zact that huge groups of dragons are moving toward a nearby city. Nobody fully understands why yet, but apparently the dragons seem to be fleeing from something terrifying, which is hilarious because we already know they're running away from the dragon aura inside Ceres. The church instructs Zact either to stop the dragons or divert them away from the city. Protecting civilians is the main priority, so Zact heads toward the city and immediately demands troops. The problem is that he has absolutely no idea how to organize troops properly because Ceres always handled strategy before. Eventually, Zact decides to fight the dragons directly with just his hero party. According to him, it's a matter of pride. Unfortunately, his team clearly doesn't share that confidence. At first, Zact actually manages to kill a rock dragon himself, but once multiple dragons attack together, the rest of the party completely falls apart. The girls struggle badly and can barely support him properly. Still, Zact continues fighting alone until a dragon bites him, causing massive blood loss and knocking him unconscious. Later, when he finally wakes up, he sees the girls survive, but when he looks toward the city, it's nothing but corpses. Children wander around orphaned, entire families are dead, and even the city lord was killed during the chaos. People immediately ask why the hero party chose to fight the dragons directly instead of redirecting them away from the city. Zact tries explaining that communication wasn't possible, but then someone reminds him of something important. The church never ordered him to fight. They specifically said diverting the dragons was acceptable too. Only then does Zact finally realize the disaster happened entirely because of his own decision-making. At first though, nobody directly blames him. That's because sometime earlier, Ceres had visited this city and explained something important to the people there. According to Ceres, society unfairly pushes all responsibility onto heroes. Ordinary people expect heroes to save them every single time, yet the moment something goes wrong, those same people blame the heroes for everything immediately. Ceres believed no single person should carry responsibility for every human death in the world. Because of that conversation, the city lord chooses not to condemn Zact completely, and hearing all this finally makes Zact understand something painful. The person he kicked out of the party was actually the one who understood everyone the most. Meanwhile, the same Zact he abandoned is currently planning a honeymoon trip with all 4 wives together, and his wives have already decided that during this honeymoon, they're absolutely going to satisfy their husband properly. So with that motivation leading the way, the group heads toward Kohani's city for their honeymoon adventure. And honestly, seeing Ceres casually walking around with 4 beautiful wives beside him already feels unfair enough. The 5 of them check into a hotel together, and right away, Ceres notices something strange. The girl guiding them to their room apparently isn't wearing anything underneath her kimono. Naturally, our boy notices instantly because apparently his observation skills become max level around women.
When he awkwardly points it out, the girl casually explains that wearing undergarments under a kimono isn't normal there anyway. Ceres basically accepts the explanation immediately because at this point, the man already has 4 wives distracting him non-stop. Once they enter the room, everyone loves the place immediately. The hotel staff then recommends that the women try wearing proper kimonos while exploring the city, and naturally all 4 agree. So Ceres waits outside for a while, and then the 4 wives finally appear wearing their kimono. And brother, this man almost dies from nosebleeds on the spot. All 4 women look ridiculously beautiful, and Ceres can barely handle it. Still, since this is supposed to be a honeymoon, he asks where everyone wants to go, but instead of staying together like a normal honeymoon group, all 4 wives immediately choose separate places they want to visit. So somehow, the honeymoon instantly turns into everyone wandering around separately. What kind of honeymoon operates on part-time shifts like this? Anyway, Ceres first ends up spending time with Saya. While walking around, he notices her staring at a decorative box she likes. Without hesitation, he tells her he'll
he'll buy it for her. Then Sayo suddenly asks whether Ceres ever gave a gift to her daughter before. Ceres casually admits that he once gave her daughter a necklace and promised he'd always stay by her side. Hearing that, Sayos immediately realized her daughter definitely messed something up badly somewhere along the line. But then Ceres follows it up with the most dangerous sentence possible. He tells Sayos he has no interest in doing anything with their daughter anymore. He'd rather focus on her mother instead. Sayos genuinely pauses and asks if this man is mentally okay. But honestly, Ceres at this point has fully mastered the art of targeting mothers specifically. Afterwards, Ceres goes to meet Shizuko near a peaceful lake. Shizuko mentions that she feels nostalgic there because she thinks her older sister once visited that place too. So the two quietly spend time together riding around peacefully, remembering how their relationship first started. Back then, Shizuko was trapped as a slave, while Ceres was just a lonely boy trying to save someone precious to him. Looking back at everything now, their entire life changed completely after that moment. And honestly, luck really carried our boy hard there. Later, when Ceres returns to the room, he realizes he completely failed to spend time with Haruka and Misaki. Naturally, both women get upset immediately. This man already struggles balancing 4 wives. His future schedule is honestly terrifying. That night though, everyone decides to relax together in the bath. And of course, seeing all 4 wives like that instantly causes Ceres' brain to shut down again. The poor guy literally faints from excitement. When he wakes up, he finds himself resting on Misaki's lap, while the women casually discuss how amazing everything has been lately. At this point, Ceres basically feels like he entered paradise permanently. After dinner and drinks later that night, things somehow become even worse for him. He suddenly realizes his hands are tied while 4 smiling demons stand around him, and then the brother gets completely drained, while the 4 wives proudly celebrating finally satisfying him properly for once. Honestly, everyone wins here. The women even make a promise among themselves that no matter what happens in the future, they'll always protect Ceres together. The next day, however, things suddenly become serious again. Some nobles and important people begin discussing Ceres publicly. Apparently, his reputation as the dragon slayer who loves older women has spread everywhere now. One noblewoman even asked whether someone like Ceres would accept a woman who was previously married and already had children. And then we finally meet the person asking that question, a princess. Not just any princess either. This woman immediately arrives with enough energy to compete against the existing wives already. Soon afterwards, Ceres meets the royal group directly and discovers the man speaking to him is actually the king himself. The king explains that he came personally to grant Ceres the title of hero. Our boy finally officially becomes the hero now.
The king explains that killing huge numbers of dragons and protecting the kingdom earned him recognition across the country. Even many nobles now call him the protector of the kingdom. The funniest part is that the king himself still doesn't understand why someone this valuable was ever removed from the hero party in the first place. But honestly, everything worked out better this way anyway. The king then explains what the hero title actually means. It's an honor given to people who make extraordinary contributions to the kingdom regardless of status or profession. Along with the title come major benefits too. Ceres can now directly request help from nobles and even communicate with the king during emergencies. And this decision wasn't made by the king alone either. Nobles all across the kingdom voted in favor of making Ceres a hero. After some official ceremonies, the title is finally granted to him properly. Then the king casually drops another bombshell. Depending on his future achievements, Ceres may receive a princess's hand in marriage too. The moment Ceres hears the word princess, this man becomes fully alert instantly. We then learn the king has 2 daughters. One is already married, while the second princess, Moran, was originally planned as a reward for Zact once he defeated the Demon King. But the king reveals something unexpected. The older daughter, Princess Maria, lost her kingdom after the place she married into was destroyed. And apparently, the king already knows exactly what type of women Ceres likes. Bro became so famous that even royalty understands his preferences now. Soon after, the king asks Ceres for another favor. A dragon-like creature has appeared in Kohani City and is causing trouble. Since Ceres is now officially a hero, the king wants him to deal with. Meanwhile, Ceres is internally screaming because this man just wanted to enjoy his honeymoon peacefully. Still, hero work is hero work, so Ceres heads out with his wives to handle the situation. Along the way, some weak goblins attack first, but the wives casually destroy them without effort. While traveling, the wives also talk about how becoming a hero will completely change Ceres' future now. He'll constantly receive requests from kingdoms and nobles, meaning their peaceful life may become much busier. During this conversation,
conversation, Ceres also discovers something surprising. The princess he might marry is someone all four wives already know personally. 10 years earlier, when Maria was married into another kingdom, a demon attacked that place. Back then, Shizuko, Haruka, Sayo, and Misaki secretly traveled there themselves, after pretending they were just going on a harmless girls' trip. Their actual mission was to defeat the demon and rescue the royal family. But regardless, the four women completely overpower it without difficulty. Unfortunately, by the time they arrived, almost everyone has already been slaughtered. Maria survived, but her husband and child couldn't be saved. Hearing that makes Ceres genuinely feel bad. Even so, Shizuko calmly says none of them would mind if Ceres eventually married Maria too. Apparently, the recruitment process never truly stops around this man. Eventually, the group finally confronts the dragon-like creature itself. The thing honestly barely even resembles a dragon anymore. And meanwhile, Masaki's abs continue stealing attention every single scene. Originally, Ceres planned on simply communicating with the creature peacefully and send it away. Since he can now speak with dragons, this should have been simple, but the creature immediately attacks instead. Luckily, Shizuko blocks the attack with a barrier before anyone gets hurt. Then, the group launches combined attacks together, though the creature barely reacts. During the battle, however, Ceres notices something strange. The dragon keeps repeating the same words over and over. "Please kill me." It's clearly suffering. At that moment, Ceres realizes the creature is being controlled against its will somehow, possibly by a curse similar to whatever the black dragon carries. Understanding that, Ceres and the wives finally put the creature down together. As it dies, the dragon quietly thanks Ceres for ending its suffering. But the whole situation leaves Ceres to stiffen.
If a dragon can eventually lose control of itself like that, then could the same thing happen to him someday because of the black dragon's blood inside him? Thankfully, for now at least, nothing bad happens. So the group returns and reports everything to the king, who becomes shocked after hearing they already solved the problem successfully. And naturally, after rewards come even bigger rewards. Soon afterwards, Ceres officially meets Princess Maria properly for the first time. She congratulates him on becoming a hero and immediately mentions hearing rumors about his four wives already. Ceres casually confirms everything while complimenting her beauty too. Maria, however, seems insecure because society treats older women terribly. She explains that she was already married before and even had a child once. According to normal standards in this world, that makes her nearly worthless. I just never mattered at all. His first four wives already prove that completely. Hearing someone genuinely accept her makes Maria visibly happy. She admits she isn't very skilled at housework, but she can support him politically and also devote herself to him completely as his wife. Honestly, at this point, Ceres is slowly building an entire kingdom instead of a family. While they continue talking though, Ceres suddenly receives an emergency magical phone call through an Adventurer Guild device, and the news completely changes the mood. The guild informs him that Zact and the former hero party have been defeated by one of the four heavenly kings. The enemy hasn't killed them yet, but plans to execute all four of them within 7 days. And because Ceres was once part of their party, the enemy specifically requested him. The heavenly king wants to fight Ceres personally.